Just a few days ago, we were talking about the rumored FX3 II and all the leaks surrounding it. But instead of announcing an FX3 successor, Sony surprised everyone by unveiling an entirely new camera, the Sony FX5. And honestly, this isn't just a minor refresh. It might actually be one of the biggest upgrades we've seen in Sony's cinema line in quite a while. For the first time ever, we're getting internal 16-bit X-OCN RAW recording, true 5K open gate, triple base ISO, and a brand new stacked full-frame sensor, all packed into a body that's still compact enough for handheld and gimbal work. So let's take a closer look at everything Sony just announced and see whether the FX5 is really the compact cinema camera filmmakers have been waiting for. At first glance, the FX5 still looks very much like an FX camera. It keeps that compact box-style design that made the FX3 so popular for documentaries, weddings, commercial work, and gimbal setups. It's slightly larger and a bit heavier than the FX3 at around 734 grams, but it's still small enough to carry around all day without feeling like a full-size cinema camera. Sony has also kept the active cooling fan, so long recording sessions shouldn't be an issue. Around the body, you'll find dual CF Express Type-A and SD card slots, dual USB-C ports, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi 6E for faster file transfers and remote workflows. One upgrade we really like is the new 3.5-inch 16:9 LCD. Compared to the FX3's smaller 4:3 display, this feels much more natural for video work. Sony has also added professional monitoring tools like waveform, false color, vector scope, and focus map directly into the camera, giving filmmakers much better exposure control without needing an external monitor. Under the hood is where things really start getting interesting. The FX5 introduces an all-new 16.6 megapixel full-frame stacked CMOS sensor. Unlike the sensor found in the FX3, this one has a much faster readout speed, which should noticeably reduce rolling shutter while also improving overall image processing. Sony says the camera delivers more than 15 stops of dynamic range when shooting in S-Lob3, giving plenty of room for color grading and highlight recovery. And because of the faster stacked design, Sony is also able to unlock several recording modes that simply weren't possible on previous compact FX cameras. This sensor really serves as the foundation for almost every major upgrade we're seeing with the FX5. Probably the biggest headline feature is internal 16-bit X-OCN RAW. For years, one of the biggest complaints about the FX3 was that shooting RAW required an external recorder. That meant more cables, more batteries, more accessories, and a much larger rig overall. The FX5 completely changes that. It can now record Sony's X-OCN RAW internally with multiple compression options, including LT, C1, and C2. That means you get much greater flexibility in post-production while keeping your camera setup compact and much easier to manage. For documentary filmmakers, commercial shooters, or anyone working on smaller productions, this alone could be a huge reason to consider upgrading. The second major upgrade is something Sony users have been requesting for years: open gate recording. The FX5 can now capture the full 5K 3.2 sensor at up to 60 frames per second. Now, if you've never worked with open gate before, the biggest advantage isn't necessarily image quality, it's flexibility. Instead of deciding your framing while you're shooting, you capture the entire sensor and crop later. That makes it incredibly useful if you're delivering content in multiple formats. You can shoot once, then create horizontal videos for YouTube, vertical versions for Instagram or TikTok, and even square crops for social media without needing separate takes. For commercial work and content creators juggling multiple platforms, this is honestly one of the most useful additions Sony could have made. Sony didn't stop there. For the first time in a compact FX camera, we're also getting triple base ISO. Instead of the traditional dual base setup, the FX5 now offers native ISO settings of 800, 4000, and 12800. Alongside that comes dual gain processing, which combines low and high gain signals to produce cleaner shadows and improved low light performance. In real-world terms, this should allow filmmakers to shoot confidently across a much wider range of lighting conditions while maintaining cleaner images and reducing noise in darker scenes. When it comes to recording formats, the FX5 looks very well equipped. You can shoot 5K Open Gate at up to 60 FPS, 4K at up to 120 FPS using a slight crop, and Full HD all the way up to 240 FPS for slow motion footage. Sony has also confirmed that a future firmware update will unlock 4K recording at up to 240 frames per second, giving even more flexibility for high-speed shooting down the road. Whether you're shooting documentaries, commercials, music videos, or social media content, the recording options cover just about everything most filmmakers are likely to need. Sony has also added several workflow improvements that make the FX5 feel much closer to its higher-end cinema cameras. The menu system has been redesigned to match the rest of the cinema line more closely, giving quicker access to professional video settings. For audio, there's the optional XLR H2 handle, which adds professional XLR inputs along with 32-bit float audio recording. Sony is also offering an optional OLED electronic viewfinder and a USB-C to BNC timecode cable for productions that require synchronized multi-camera setups. None of these accessories are mandatory, but they allow users to build the camera into a much more capable production tool when needed. Naturally, the biggest question is whether current FX3 owners should upgrade, and honestly, the answer depends on your workflow. If your FX3 already does everything you need, there's probably no reason to rush out and replace it. It's still an outstanding compact cinema camera. But if you've been waiting for internal RAW, open gate recording, improved monitoring tools, triple base ISO, and a brand new stacked sensor, then the FX5 feels like the camera many FX3 users have been asking Sony to build for years. It doesn't replace the FX3. Instead, it sits above it as a more professional option for filmmakers who need those additional capabilities. The Sony FX5 starts at $48.99 for the body only, while the version bundled with the XLR handle comes in at $54.99. Sony expects the camera to begin shipping around the middle of August. Overall, the FX5 feels like one of the most meaningful updates we've seen in Sony's cinema line in recent years. Instead of simply improving image quality or adding another frame rate, Sony focused on solving many of the biggest requests filmmakers have had for years. Internal RAW, open gate recording, triple base ISO, better monitoring tools, and a brand new stacked sensor all make this a very compelling package. Now, of course, specs only tell part of the story. We'll still have to see how the FX5 performs once real-world footage, autofocus tests, rolling shutter comparisons, and low light samples start showing up. That's when we'll really know whether it lives up to all the hype. And that's everything we know so far about the brand new Sony FX5. Let us know down in the comments what you think about Sony's latest cinema line camera and whether you'd pick this over the FX3 or one of its competitors. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.